maybe get a couple of clarifications? Victor Beach not with the program anymore, or is there something else there?
Medical reasons. It was going to be tough for him to continue, so he'll take a medical scholarship.
Didn't see Colin Sullivan on there.
He should have been on there. So Colin is with us. Has been practicing with us. So we'll get him added if he's not on there.
Okay. Kind of a couple position things. Saw Coyle listed as a linebacker. Is that a position you may experiment with him early, or do you see him maybe getting in that mix?
Well, in our defensive scheme now, we have some safety / nickel linebackers playing our outside linebacker position, and Tyler is going to be able to do that as well as Jalen Graham have the ability to play both in that area and then back at safety if we need him there as well.
I mean, is he built linebacker wise? I mean, does he have that kind of body stature?
Well, he's a good looking, he looked much better in person when he got here than I thought he would look. He looks very good. He's strong. He's got good size. I'm not sure where we list him at, but he can definitely be a slightly undersized linebacker, so to speak, but that's athletic and can cover, and definitely in sets that aren't full out running teams can be outstanding in that position, in our opinion. And even in those sets, I think he has the capability to do things there as well.
You know, with the new defensive scheme or the new defensive philosophy, however you want to put it, I mean, what kind of body types, what kind of people really thrive maybe in that linebacker / secondary role that you're going for?
Well, there's a lot of ways you can call it defense. Some people will call it 4-2-5, where you put an athletic guy in that outside backer, detached linebacker nickel position, and not have to sub guys in and out. You know, I think Jalen Graham and Tyler Croy are both good-sized safeties that can fill a role in the run game as well, and they can do a good job in the pass game. Now, as we get into third down sets, if we need somebody maybe with a little more speed and athleticism, we can definitely do that. But on first and second down, and most normal down and distances, that would be the body type that we would have there.
Hey, Mike, one more question. I got to move on to Tom and Mike Merritt, please.
Okay. All right. Just one more. Any update on DJ Johnson?
As far as
him being anything from the NCAA?
No, we don't have any clarification on that. I know he's been practicing with us for 2 days. He's looked very, very good, and we're hopeful to get him eligible to play this year for sure.
He was listed as a safety on the roster. Will he go back and forth, or do you see him strictly as one position or another?
He's been playing corner for us, so that would be something we would change. He's been playing corner.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, Tom Dienhart.
Hey, Jeff. So Sam Garvin's your center. Who's the backup?
Well, right now that's a position that, we've got some concerns where there's not a ton of experience. Spencer Hostedge has been working in that. He's had an outstanding spring and summer. He's been taking a lot of reps there at the backup position. Gus Hartwig is a true freshman that, while he's not going to be ready right this second, he's done a great job. And those two body types, we think have potential, and they can be very good players for us. We just need to speed up that process because, yes, that is position we don't have a ton of depth at. We're going to work Will Bramwell there as well in certain situations. But right now, I would say Sam Garvin, backed up by Spencer and Gus.
Hey, I saw Krishan Long, Parma, Ohio. He's gone, huh?
No, he's in the same position as Victor. He's had numerous medical issues where we just couldn't get him healthy due to existing conditions he had, and he'll be on a medical scholarship as well.
Hey, Jeff, yesterday was a crazy day for college football. Just talk about your mindset, how you stay focused, how you're keeping your team focused and on task, knowing there's such a dark cloud looming over the season.
Believe it or not, for us, we've had 2 really good days, and we've come out of those 2 days healthier than we ever have been. And I feel like we've made a lot of progress, and our guys have been excited to get back out there and play. We've had a good summer, like every team, with the COVID situation, and some people testing positive and contact tracing. Yeah, we're out some people right now. We have been for quite a while, and that's something that you would have to go through the entire year, and that's why depth is very important. That's why everyone knowing that at any point they can play is very important. So we see what's going on. We're obviously hopeful for the best, but we understand the situation. But our guys to this point have done a great job, and we've concentrated on it, and we're looking forward to having some good practices this week as well, and we'll see where that goes.
Hey, Big Ten put a mandate out. You guys can't pad up. They're going to delay your progression to ramp up practice. Will that put you guys behind? And when do you think you'll be allowed to get pads on?
Yeah, I don't think it'll put us behind. You know what? There's been some teams in the conference. Wisconsin didn't even start on Friday and backed things up to Monday. Northwestern had already decided to go in just helmets until they got some more clarification on some things. I think every team has treated it different. You know, for us, being able to practice in helmets and continue on that progression will be just fine. I don't think it put us behind at all. We've had, you know, 2 full weeks of walkthroughs where we've gotten a lot of good work. So right now, I feel like we're on schedule, and the fact that we can't get pads on as long as sometime in the near future we can, I don't think it'll affect us a whole lot.
Hey, Jeff, would you be okay playing the spring season?
Yes, I would. I think it's important that we find a way to play. Obviously, the hope is to play this season in the fall, and I think that's what everyone is working hard to do, from the higher ups all the way down, is to do our part to see if we can make this work. But without question, if it couldn't happen at this point because of all the things going on in our country, I would 100% be in favor of playing in the spring.
You think you could play in the spring and then in the fall of 2021?
I actually think you can, and you know, there's going to be some things you would have to do. I mean, you look at an NFL season for teams that go to the playoffs and Super Bowl and preseason games, you could play up to 24 games. Now, I think it's important that we take care of our players, and health and safety is important. I think, you know, the possibility of maybe if it were to get to that point, having a 10-game season in the spring and trying to pick when that window was going to be. Is it mid-February to mid-April? Is it go into a little bit into May? Do you back up the next season to where you start the end of September, October 1st, and have another 10-game season to make sure there's enough room? I think there are ways. I'm not an expert. I don't know how it will play out if we get to that point, but I would 100% be in favor of trying to make it work where we can have a spring season if we can't go in the fall, and then trying to figure out a way to make the fall season work for 2021, even if there's minor adjustments. And I think there are ways to excite things up, and maybe for 2 years you change the playoff format and you have an 18 playoff and you make it exciting. But I think everyone wants football at some point, players, fans, and everyone included, and we'd like to be able to give it to them.
One more.
How many players are you missing right now? Can you say?
Well, for just in general, or
Yeah, I guess however specific you can get.
well, no, we're missing guys. It's more than a handful of guys due to the situation going on right now in the country. Now that testing is going to be more prevalent here and everywhere, it's probably going to continue to happen. And I think that is the main concern with a lot of teams is, if it's happening now, is it going to get any better? Are you going to be missing a lot of key guys during the season with contact tracing knocking out even more? A lot of these guys, at least that we've had, have been asymptomatic the entire time, but yet they've got to be out for an extended period of time regardless. That's I think what we're dealing with and many teams are dealing with. That is going to be tough to manage, but you got to find ways to get it done.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Mike Merritt?
Jeff, what exactly have how has this changed the way you try and prepare, if at all, for the season? Do you have contingency plans? Do you have put things on hold if you get into a situation where, the Big Ten keeps the pause on?
Well, for us, making sure we do our part to take care of our guys when they're at the building has been very important. So that's spacing out all the meeting rooms, taking advantage of this entire facility we have, making sure we keep our social distance at all times throughout the building, wearing masks, spacing out things in the dining hall, making sure we're occupying every last ounce of space we have. we didn't even use the locker room and showers until we just started camp. And even then, we've got chairs out into the indoor so that really when they go in the locker room, they're just changing and getting out of there. I think ourselves and probably numerous other teams have probably done a pretty good job of keeping guys safe at the building. And that's been the number one concern and priority for us. And I feel like our team of doctors and medical experts, along with our coaches working with them, that's gone very well. What you have to worry about is when they leave the facility. And we preach it all the time. We talk about it. But all it takes is one or two bad decisions, and a lot of people are knocked out. And it's unfortunate because you can't really live your college life like you want to. But if you want to play football in today's world this year, you have to find ways to make sacrifices. So that's the dilemma that I think a lot of teams are in, is when they leave this building, what's going to happen, and how can they stay safe, and how can they make sure they keep their distance. And you hope for the best, and but that's where I think a lot of teams have run into problems.
Have you talked to other coaches about, what they're trying to do to hold guys accountable, or do you have a plan for that?
Well, we've talked about it a ton with our team. I've talked about with other coaches a ton as well. You can't really put handcuffs on your guys. You can't really follow them around 24 hours a day, but you can communicate things with your team. You can give up great examples of things that have happened along the way, which we have. We can try to have our players hold each other accountable. But you know what? Sometimes things happen when there hasn't been a big crowd. And so it's hard to say 100% this is the exact reason, but a lot of the issues we've had, we've contact traced and researched, and maybe it wasn't a big party. Maybe it was the gathering of 4 people and they played video games all day. And, sometimes you can't figure it out. And that's been the issue is, I think our guys are trying hard to stay safe, but we've still had issues. And we were going really good for a while. And then we just had a little hiccup a couple weeks ago, and that has kind of knocked some guys out, and it's made guys miss quite a bit of time when we've had multiple people contact trace twice and had to miss a lot of time when they've had no symptoms whatsoever the entire period.
How do you feel about your quarterback situation at this point?
Well, that's an important position for us. I feel like that the guys we played last year, other than Elijah, who decided to move on, and we wish him all the best, got a ton of experience. So Jack Plummer did some good things, did some things he's got to improve upon, but he's had a good offseason. I think he's ready to play. I think Aiden O'Connell stepped in tough situations and did a good job. He led us to some touchdowns, to victories, and I think he's improved and done a good job and worked extremely hard. And then we've added Austin Burden, a transfer from UCLA, who's getting in the mix and catching up on some things. He just got here. He'll have 2 years to play. We have a true freshman, Michael Lamo, who's come in and has some potential. I don't feel like, the quarterback position, I think that position will be schooled up and ready to play. We've got to get better around it, and we've got to do things to take the pressure off them. And I think, from the offensive line play to running game to playing solid defense to being good on special teams, those are the areas we got to improve.
And the offensive line, I know that was an issue last year. Do you feel better about where they're at this point? I know they were young last year too. Yes, I feel better. I mean, our guys have worked hard. We've seen improvement of our returning guys on our team. We've had over 300 pounds of weight that we gained, and it's all been good weight in our opinion. So we've added some mass and bulk, but we've got to go out there and produce. We have a lot of guys at that position now, more guys capable of playing, but we need some to step up and to really become productive players that we can count on. And that's where we've got to see that happen. Grant Hermans has our most experience. We want to see him have a great year, but he's got to continue to have a great camp and improve. Beyond that, there has been a whole lot of guys played. Cam Craig has stepped in as a true freshman at the very end of the year. He's got great promise. Sam Garvin played a lot of center for us in situations and stepped in and did a decent job. But there's a lot of guys that need to play more. Will Bramwell, Eric Miller played a lot last year, but they have to improve. So we know we have to get better, and we're working hard at it. We've got to do a good job as coaches, as doing things that they do well. But we've got to just work hard at developing them and making sure that they improve.
Okay, guys, it's a little bit
Thanks,
after
Coach.
want to thank Coach Brohm for his time. If you got one more quick question, Mike, that's fine.
I'm good. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, Derek's still in meetings. He'll be here shortly. So when Derek shows up, we'll come back live with you guys.
Okay.
All right.